All right, so our first root is tele. Tele means far or at a distance. Okay, the first word is telephone. After me, telephone.
Telephone.
Okay, telephone, you probably all know what that is, but this is where we get the word from. Tele is at a distance or far away. Phono is sound, so telephone, put it together, you get sound from far away. So you draw a little picture of a phone or a little sentence, don't interrupt mom while she's on the telephone. What was that word again?
Telephone.
Good. Next word, telescope.
Telescope.
Okay, telescope, kind of the same thing. You've probably heard that word before or seen that word before. Tele is from a distance. Scope, think about words that we've had in the past couple of weeks. Which one did we have last week with scope? What? Microscope, to see something small. We had periscope a couple weeks ago, to look around something. So telescope is to see something far away. What would you see far away? What would you use it for, Gavin? The stars. Jonah? Planets.
Moon.
The moon, anything in outer space, right? That's what we use a telescope for. What was that word again?
Telescope.
Good. Next word, telemetry.
Telemetry.
Telemetry is the science of measuring from a distance. So why don't you add that in? There was a little typo. Between measuring and distance, add from a. Otherwise, it's kind of a different meaning. Okay? Telemetry is often used in the medical fields to measure different things about your body from a distance. For example, a couple of years ago, I had to wear a heart monitor. I don't know if any of you remember that. You were all 6th graders. You definitely wouldn't have remembered it. But I had kind of a weird palpitations in my heart. So they, instead of me having to sit in a hospital room for a whole month, because that's how long I had to wear it, it was just attached to 3 different places on my chest, and then there was a little beeper kind of style thing here, and it plugged in, and it would send that information to, I think, somewhere in Iowa, but then people at Sanford and Fargo were able to look at it and figure out what was wrong with me. Jonah?
So why do some people get pacemakers, right?
Pacemaker's kind of a different thing, but I think pacemakers are actually telemetric too, that they can send information to some sort of data center. Insulin pumps sometimes will keep measurements of when people run low on insulin, and they also give you the insulin through it, but they might be able to keep track of all that. So even though I'm not standing right next to a doctor is able to measure, take measurements from a distance. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And that word again was what?
Telemetry.
Good. Next word is telepathy.
Telepathy.
Telepathy is communicating from one mind to another. So if I was sitting here and I was thinking something and I was sending a message to Jade, Jade, did you get it? No, she didn't get it because telepathy is made up. It's science fiction, but it's like sending messages through brainwaves. You might see this in science fiction novels. Some people say that twins have telepathy. What was that?
Gilligan's Island is actually an episode on yesterday.
Oh, really? About telepathy? Okay. So, pretty fictitious, not real. Okay, that word again was what?
Telepathy.
Good. Our next set of words are chrono, dealing with time. The first word we have is chronometer. Chronometer is a synonym for chronograph, which you had earlier this year. So it's a fancy watch or a fancy timekeeper. Might show the day of the week, the day of the month, what month it is. Is yours a chronometer? Fancy. What was that word again?
Chronometer.
Okay. Next word is chronic. Chronic means all the time. How many of you ever get headaches? If you've ever had a headache? Okay, pretty much everybody's had a headache at some point, but if you have chronic headaches, that means you get them all the time. Or people with chronic arthritis have it all the time, instead of just when the weather gets really bad. Yes? Yeah, we'll actually get to that word later when it was on there. But things are chronic, it happens all the time. Usually it's dealing with medical stuff, you'll see it in commercials for different medicines. Jonah?
Yeah, we learned in health chronic disease.
Yep, it's going to affect you for the rest of your life, right?
Yep.
Okay. Peyton?
Chronic homework.
Chronic homework? So you have a chronic homework problem that happens all the time?
All kinds of college.
Okay. Cassidy?
So does that mean like chronic lying? Does that come from like a medical phrase?
So chronic lying, it's somebody who lies all the time. A chronic liar lies all the time. So chronic isn't always health related, but that's where you hear it a lot, is with health problems. So something that happens all the time is chronic. Okay, that word again is what?
Chronic.
Good. Next word, Synchronize means at the same time. Are any of you going to that dance recital this weekend? That's here? Kirsten's podium? No? Okay. Well, think of those little 7-year-old dancers, okay? All their movements are supposed to be happening at the same time. They're supposed to be, what's that word?
Synchronized.
Synchronized. Okay, so they're all supposed to be happening at the same time, like synchronized swimming. Okay?
Marching band.
Marching band. You need to march in a synchronized manner. Good. The next word we have is asynchronous. Have to be asynchronous.
Asynchronous.
That means not occurring at the right time. So those 7-year-old dancers who are all supposed to be moving at the same time, putting their right leg up at the same time, are they probably going to be synchronized or asynchronous? Which one?
Asynchronous.
Asynchronous, because it's hard to synchronize all those little kids. Yes.
The left shark in the Super Bowl.
Was the left shark in the Super Bowl asynchronous?
Oh,
Not?
yeah. He was awful.
I don't know that I've analyzed it, so I'll believe you. Take your word for it. Or when you're doing a baton handoff in track, if you take off a little bit too early, you're not timing it right, so it might be asynchronous. You might have a bad handoff. Okay. I saw a couple bad handoffs on Saturday.
Ours is really bad.
Okay, the next word we have is chronological. After me, chronological.
Chronological.
Sam actually brought this word up. It means in sequence according to time. Our book, The Outsiders, is chronological. It's what happens first, second, third, right? If we took the part where Johnny kills the Soch and puts it after the church fire, that really wouldn't make much sense. It would be not in chronological order. Okay, that word again was what?
Chronological.
Good. And the last word is anachronistic.
Anachronistic.
Good. That means out of place in time. So again, if we put that part where Johnny kills the Soch and puts it, when we put it after the church fire, that would be, what's that word?
Anachronistic.
Anachronistic. Good. Okay. Star the words you know you'll need to study extra this week. I'll come around with some tape so you can tape them in.